All right, in this video, this is the first video about language, and so we're talking about language structure, and we're also talking about language theory. So first of all, language structure. The smallest unit of sound is called the phenome, and so the structure of our language, for example, is down to phonemes. That's the smallest bit, and it would include, for example, the th, and the a, and the t. Now, the way they are teaching kids in elementary schools right now to be able to spell, they are asking them to spell by sound. Okay, so for example, if you are looking at table, okay, and you ask a little kid to, for example, a 6-year-old to spell table, okay, if you sound it out as phonemes, it's t, a, bowl. And the BL is one sound unit, okay? It goes together. So it's TABL. So what happens is that you have, they will obviously not include the E, and the way they're having them spell it right now is that based off from how they sound. And so then they will teach them the rules that will add in, for example, the silent E that make the word actually spelled correctly. So the phenome is the smallest unit of sound, and then you have the morpheme. The morpheme are the smallest unit that carries actual meaning. So for example, dogs has two morphemes. You have dog and then the S. And the S has meaning because the S tells you it's plural. Other examples, rerun has two morphemes. Re, which is again, and run. Overreact has three morphemes. Over, re, act. So what you need to pay attention to, and I think I had a homework question on this about I gave you a sentence and you had to tell me how many phonemes and how many morphemes there were. What you need to pay attention to is you need to pay attention to the number of sounds for the phonemes, and for the morphemes you need to pay attention to the parts that actually have meaning. Think about, does this actually have meaning by itself? Okay, is it a prefix or a suffix? Okay, those still have meanings by themselves. Okay, so when we still talk about structure, we can talk about grammar. And as you know, grammar is the rules in a language that allows you to communicate with each other. So the rules that we follow, and what you find is that every language has their own rules, okay, but there are some commonalities as far as rules within grammar. So for example, I know you've probably seen this one. It says, let's eat, Grandpa, or let's eat, Grandpa. So the correct punctuation makes a difference between if I'm eating Grandpa or if I'm eating with Grandpa, right? Now, within grammar, we can talk about semantics. And so semantics are the set of rules to get meaning from the morphemes, the words, and the sentences. So the semantics is that we have to understand the meaning of what they're talking about. And so sometimes particular sentences or words have more than one meaning. Okay? This cartoon, for example, it says, if I have 12 tomatoes and take away 2, and the teacher says, what is the difference? And the little boy in the back, who's a smart aleck, says, exactly, I don't like tomatoes either. And then the janitor asks, well, what are you in for this time? The kid says, semantics. He answered the question, what's the difference, but it wasn't in the fashion that the teacher wanted the answer for. So smart alecks do this all the time, or for example, puns play off semantics all the time. But it's understanding the meaning behind the morphemes, the words, and the sentences. All right, and then lastly, the syntax. Syntax are the rules to order sentences. For example, and this is one of the things that kids in like elementary school have to work on some of these. For example, my 6-year-old may say, me and Olivia are going upstairs to play. Well, and I tell him, no, Olivia and I are going upstairs to play. The rule to order the sentences, you know, when you are talking about multiple people, you always come last, okay? Another good example, have you ever seen the Star Wars movies? Yoda does not speak in correct English syntax. So this cartoon has Yoda on Jeopardy, and Yoda says, warp speed, what is? And Alex Trebek says, I'm sorry, but once again, that's not in the form of a question. Again, it's not following the order that we have in the English language for sentences, or in this case, a question. All right, last thing that I want to talk about is how do we develop our language? So there are two main theories about how we develop language. The first one has to do with B.F. Skinner. And if you remember Skinner, he was a behaviorist. Now, question, see if you can review, quick review. Was Skinner involved in classical conditioning or operant conditioning? Operant conditioning. So remember, he was the one that talked about positive and negative reinforcement and positive and negative punishment. So Skinner believed that nature determines a language development through association, imitating others, and being rewarded for saying things correctly. So he said that kids learn language by, seeing a bird and associating bird, the word bird, with the picture of the bird, right? Imitating others, they oftentimes go and imitate other people around them, even if you don't want them to. Parents have to start looking out, paying attention to what they say around their kids around this time when they're learning language. For example, if you drop something, you're like, damn it, and then you have your 2-year-old walking around saying, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, and then you tell them, be quiet, and then they'll be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, and they're like a little parrot. Okay? But you also get rewarded for saying things correctly. For example, my kids read this book. I don't know if you've seen The Backyardigans, but they were teaching manners, right? In my house, for example, my 2-year-old, he says, more juice. I say, more juice what? And he says, please. And I said, okay, well, can you put it all together? Put it together in a sentence. Please, more juice, please. He always says please twice in there. But he will get rewarded for that because he'll get more juice, right? So Skinner says, see, exactly. This is how things are going to be rewarded over time. Now, Noam Chomsky said that we learn too fast for the nurture to explain all of it. So he said that doesn't explain everything, how we learn language. He said, there's Noam Chomsky, by the way. He said, for example, this would be an example, this little cartoon. It says, this little boy says, I put the plates on the table. And the mom says, you mean I put the plates on the table? The boy says, no, I put them on all by myself. And even though the mom corrected, right, the boy still said it incorrectly. And according to B.F. Skinner, he would be more like a parrot and parrot what she said. Okay, so Noam Chomsky says, no. That's not explaining all of it. He said that we come pre-wired with a language acquisition device, and it just kind of gets turned on as you get older, and it gets activated. And he said that all languages have the basic same grammar building blocks, and we all languages, for example, have nouns and verbs and those kinds of things. And so we have the same building blocks. We may have different semantics or different syntax to those grammar, but we all have the same grammar building blocks. And then he also said that all kids start speaking mostly in nouns at first, and then they add verbs later. Culturally, that may be slightly different, but for the most part, he said, these are all instances of, this was just evolving over time. Whereas B.F. Skinner said it's a rewarding and you learn over time. So that's kind of how we learn language. All right, that's all I wanted to talk about for now. Look for the next module on talking about language.